try it. Hey, buddy. Hey,
you mean the recording?
No, for the people who come in later that listen that aren't watching us live.
Yes.
Yeah, it recommends that we sort of give a little background. So, I basically cover institutional and macro and compliance and try to bring that to the middle with Brad's innovative edge hunting of awesome opportunities.
That works. And you know what we'll do? I'll just pre-record one and then we'll plop it in front of every show. That way you don't have to do this every time. Yeah, exactly.
I got it.
Got it?
We're going to call you like #Gold Club now.
Yeah, you're choppy as fuck. I don't know what's going on.
Well, it's not doing it. I'm doing 2 monitors and it's not choppy on the one I'm listening on. So
maybe it's me.
But it doesn't matter. I'll go slow. We'll all go slow for Brad today.
All right, we've got a guest today, a guy that I've been connected to for quite a while in a group on Telegram. A bunch of actually started out a bunch of Masternode dudes 3 years ago or so that I got invited into, and since then a bunch of the folks have done some NFT projects, some other cool stuff. Euphoric says you are smooth. Joe is smooth.
Thanks, buddy.
We're going to call him Smooth Uncle Joe.
Smooth operator.
Uncle Joe. Now, I haven't seen a lot more discussion on our comm system on Reddit. So once you guys in there, get your thoughts in there. I want to hear what you have to say and what you think about it. So
I still have to get in and put my stuff in.
Yeah, Joe. Yeah. Come on, dude.
So let me touch CPI first.
Yeah,
before you go into like our speed. Look, I mean, I don't know if everybody's paying attention, but before it printed, a lot of stuff was looking up. Then it was a little leaking. Then everything was down. And I'm kind of talking about Nikkei here first.
Well, first tell them what printed.
It was up, but it was out of the expectation band. So the key one, CPI actually went down. Core inflation went up. The important one's core inflation, because that's where we already know what's going on with food and with rent and gas. So
right.
It's important to know what's going on in the other areas too, where it is still bubbling. So that was up, I believe 0.1% higher than the consensus expectation. So then everybody's expecting, oh shit, it's going to be 75 bips for sure. The next one, and the next Fed rate hike. And then I turn around and I'm busy playing around in Aptos and Arbitrum and a couple of the Shardium I was in, messing around in those test nets. And I come back to look before the show, and all of a sudden everything's up, like 400. I think I saw the Dow was just a little bit ago, and Bitcoin was turning around, and ETH had turned around. Of course, I don't know what it's doing right now, but most importantly, the Nikkei, Nikkei and Hang Seng sold off last night. They were down big. So I thought that was going to cascade into Europe, and it didn't. And now the Nikkei futures are up 325, 1.25%. So, I don't know what came out that caused that turn, because, normally you'd expect everybody to be going, oh, no pivot. Yeah, that's right, Sean. Sean said trader games, man, great fun to trade this volatility. Yeah, it was just swinging everywhere. Right. So, equities, crypto, all of it. So, we'll see what comes out, but it was just surprising to me. So, everything looks okay right now.
Look at that 24-hour Bitcoin chart. Back up.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's, also that the COLA number came out for Social Security today in the U.S., which was 8.7% pay raise basically for retirees. And most pension funds follow those COLA things, private ones, everything too, particularly like the military side stuff and the government side stuff. And so, that's going to put, I think the average is $140 a month, but, that's like a lot of people do more, and that's, make more than they're at the higher end of the Social Security spectrum. And that doesn't include all the other pensions. So it looked like, some stimmy money coming in at that point. Of course, we know that seniors aren't the biggest crypto slingers, but I think they're grinding it out like everybody else. So
but they might be swingers.
Yeah, but they may have money to seed their grandkids' crypto ventures and things like that. So,
There you
it
go.
puts more liquidity into the market. So maybe that was part of it. I really, don't know at this point, but I'm not complaining.
All right. All right. Well, that's good. We'll take it. We'll take not bad news, right?
Yeah, I mean, look, you just have to. I think if we just accept the fact that, and again, many differing perspectives depending upon where you live, of course,
Sure,
which economy you're embedded in.
Yep.
But, they're determined to stamp this out. And, Wall Street is maybe believing them, but maybe now expectations are 75 basis point rates going forward till it gets to whatever 4.5 or wherever they're trying to get to. And now Wall Street's finally aligned with that expectation or believes it.
Right.
It's such a psychological game, all of it. That's why you could see why inside information is so penalized.
Yeah,
because you
absolutely.
could really game the system. So, but anyhow, lots of good stuff going on in the rest of the market too. Exciting, innovative stuff that I'm sure Brad's getting ready to tell us all about.
No. But I
did
do
my
want to show
part.
you this. I want to show you this brilliant ad that Yearn came out with today. I'm not going to play the audio because you can look at the subtitles.
Yeah.
But their tweet was, FTX has Larry David, Crypto.com has used Matt Damon, introducing Yearn's new influencer partners, Jerome Powell, Christine Lagarde, and Andrew Bailey. And so they just took snippets of all these speeches, but watch the subtitles because I don't have the feed set through to the video.
Okay.
Watch the subtitles. Good afternoon, Anon. We at the ECB.
I like that. I like it. I mean, I don't see why the B of E, Bank of England, isn't really considering stuff like this.
It's brilliant.
I
But
mean,
this ad is brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, look, they're swinging what their little stimmy package last week, or their guilt exercise was like supposedly 65 billion.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was all put in or what, but damn, man, if you could get like yields, I mean, a couple B ain't gonna break the protocol.
Yeah.
It's not gonna tank the yield. So
Yeah.
if you're swinging 65 and you throw one B into some kind of yield farm, I mean, that could, everything else in risk-free, I mean, that could pump your risk-free return from, whatever you're getting, let's say 1 or 2 bips or 1 or 2% return to, more than that, 4, 5, 6 range in the most conservative stuff out there.
That's right.
So I don't see why they're not trying that shit.
Yeah. So a little more story on the Mango guy.
Yeah.
that exploited for 100 million. I actually read a pretty interesting summary of how he did it, and he just used the system. He just used the Mango system. He deposited a shit ton of money, manipulated the price up on an asset, on their asset. Anyway, inflated the price enough because he had control, because they had no liquidity, that he could borrow everything out of their treasury against what his deposits value currently was, because he inflated the price, took all the money out because he borrowed it, and then left them hanging, right? So it's a really interesting thing about whether, I mean, nothing he did was a hack or an exploit or illegal access or anything else. He just used the code of the system against them, the way the system functions. Very interesting. Anyway, this article names him. I'm not going to say his name. It's in the article. You guys can read it. It'll be in the show notes, because I don't know how verified it is, but it shows a transfer to his wallet that they tracked and have from previous. He's done another scam on another protocol where he got them to launch a stable coin that he controlled, and he kept 7 million and gave 7 million back to the protocol. But he actually told people in a Discord channel that he was going to do it, and gave not specifically which protocol, but he gave step-by-step how he was going to take advantage of a lending protocol to do this whole thing. And remember, this is the guy that did it. And then afterwards voted for his own proposal to pay off the bad debt. So anyway, it's interesting. Real quick, Sean said, haha, watch Sterling crash if the Bank of England played the DeFi game. Eamon said, printed that extra zero, one for you economy, one for me. And he said, yeah, Mango had a vulnerable low liquidity and they offered leverage. It really wasn't a hack.
Yeah.
He manipulated the markets. As Sean said, not manipulation. They left an edge. He took it. That's trading. I don't think it's like regular market manipulation. He just took what they gave him and
he
made use of it. Yeah. So
he was smart enough to find out how to rig the system in his favor.
Exactly.
I mean, that's
and
not
used
hacking.
Their code, and they weren't smart enough to see it coming. So you know, it's a really interesting. This feels like a documentary. You know,
well, it sort of really seems like the bug bounty stuff. I mean, he identified a vulnerability. Nobody would pay attention to it, so he emptied the treasury. It's like, I told you so. And then he's like, hey, I'll return most of it if you don't arrest me.
We'll see where it all settles out.
Yeah, it is kind of funny that he got doxxed, though.
You and Sean were talking about Bitcoin earlier and potential for liquidations, et cetera. This article talks about there's 1.49 billion held in miner wallets. And currently the price to mine because of the hash rate is higher than the value of Bitcoin. And so essentially Glassnode is saying, this analytics firm Glassnode is saying that there's a real risk here of miners doing, you know, a massive dump, I guess, in the market. Which,
yeah, but that's still like a quarter of 1%, right? 1.5 billion, something like that.
1.4.
I mean, what's it about? Let's say it's a $500 billion Bitcoin market. You know, it's still in 1.5 billion out of 500 billion. I mean, I get it. I get the point, but still, it's, you know, if it's 200 billion, then I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So I don't know, but yeah, Sean, to the conversation with Sean, I mean, look, I never really thought about it that, you know, when the shorter, faster move to the downside takes out all the longs, just how more aggressively that cascades and accelerates than say to the upside, taking out short. So it was a really good conversation with him.
No, it's great on Twitter. Yeah.
So I learned something every time I exchange talks with him.
You know, this article goes through how many wallets Tether has frozen. And so I would just say, you know, if they can blacklist you for legal stuff that police have told them to do, they can blacklist you for anything. We need to get off USDT and USDC. But they have done a ton of blacklisting over time, which I wasn't aware of quite how often it happens. Seems to happen pretty frequently. All they need is a court order or a police request, and they'll blacklist and freeze your wallet. So, and evidently there have been some instances of freezing where, in fact, the person's activities were not illegal, were intimated as illegal, were not illegal, and caused them some serious financial harm. So,
yeah.
Anyway, this is cool. The Indian police department has set up their complaints portal to be blockchain based on Polygon, so that all complaints cannot be erased. They're on the blockchain, which I think is a really cool use of blockchain, right? So here's another example, like we were talking about the other day, of a government using the power of immutability on the blockchain to make it so that citizen complaints can't be erased, gotten rid of, whatever. They're all on the record. They're on the blockchain for anyone to see. I think it's a really cool concept. Heyman says it was the 3x leverage on Mango. Then he pumped the spot price with the Oracle. The Mango token was super thin liquidity. Then he closed positions, driving the price down again. Yeah. Exactly.
Wait, so he was manipulating the spot price within the Oracle? That might be a problem.
That could be a problem. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how he could do that though. I don't know if he was pumping the price with his
maybe with two buys.
I don't know.
Yeah, if it was buys.
Oh yeah, and he told them in advance. Sean said that's just a great trade. I'm still leaning that way. Look, he's no hero. I don't like anybody taking advantage of a protocol and harming it, but at the same time, these are lessons that everybody has to learn, right? So, and we talk about that all the time. So,
Well, and he probably harmed it less than it would have been harmed if a real malevolent actor had come in
yeah,
there.
I really
obviously.
quickly want to get into the lawsuit filed yesterday by Coin Center, but also one of the plaintiffs is David Hoffman of the Bankless Show. And I want to encourage, this is a beautifully written, I love Coin Center. Go donate to them if you haven't. They're out there fighting for us. So coincenter.org, give them money. They give you a cool Bitcoin shirt. They're fighting for all of us. The lawsuit against the Department of Treasury, Janet Yellen, et cetera, is beautifully written regarding Tornado Cash. And if you read through it, you'll learn a lot because it's so well articulated. One of the best legal documents I've ever read. I mean, just really, really beautifully written, simple, clean, makes it understandable, makes it easy to understand how Tornado Cash works, understand the impacts on David Hoffman, John Doe, and another plaintiff. One of the plaintiffs, the John Doe, has been running a Ukraine aid fund that's been completely supplied through Tornado Cash, and all so that everyone can remain anonymous, so that the Russians don't target anybody, right? Which we know is a threat.
You're right.
And they cannot do anything now. And now everyone in that is everyone that's used it, all the donators and the cause are all now liable to report back to Treasury or FAC every year. So anyway, really well done, really great case for why privacy is so important, why this is misguided, why it wasn't within the rights of the law, why it was a violation of the department's own regulations and how they run things. Just, I encourage you, go read this. I'm going to put the link in it. And I applaud all three plaintiffs for being willing to file this suit and be part of it. So Sean says, simple, you move the spot markets that make up the Oracle, and it's that simple. You get the leverage on the other side. It's a great trade. Yeah, I see. Okay. And Eamon said it's their fault for offering leverage without depth. And Eamon said it was on FTX. So all good. Our guest is here, Joe. You ready?
All right. Let's do it.
Sean said, yeah, but he took a risk with his own money. Yeah, he had to put up a chunk of cash to make it work and make it happen. So Alan, welcome, my friend.
Hey, what's up? Thanks for having me.
How are you, man? Hey,
good.
Glad to
Alan.
have you.
Hey.
Alan and I are in a group that should probably be defunct because it was built on masternodes. But,
we are not leaving that group.
It's a good group of guys. It's a good group of folks in there. And there's a lot to learn from them. We do need to kind of rejuvenate those conversations though. So I was glad to see your post.
Yeah. Thank you.
Hey man, why don't you introduce yourself a little bit and, tell us a little bit of your background and, maybe you can even talk to you a little bit about your masternodes experience. I don't talk about mine because it's too painful, but maybe you can.
Well, yeah. So, my name is Alan Hena. I came into crypto in like 2017, never left. I went down the path of the whole like masternode staking, as we were just discussing. So it was an interesting time, an exciting time. I learned a ton. After that, I built a site. You're really been in the space a while if you remember like staking nodes.
Sure.
So like staking nodes, and then which got like rebranded into digital oil. Interestingly enough, we're still working on that in the background with some other people that sort of like iterated in some sort of like risk-adjusted smart contract quantification, quantitative and qualitative smart contract risk scoring based on liquidity and a lot of other things. Yeah. So I'm working on that as one of my sort of side projects. Right now, I'm the director of Web3 operations for Vayner3, which is basically, if you think of like brands like Pepsi, Ford, Anheuser-Busch, some others I can't name yet, but they are basically all the big brands and enterprises are like, how do we get into Web3? Yeah, they want to do some NFTs, but fundamentally, it's like, what does a Web3 operation look like for an enterprise, right? As individuals, it's very easy for us to just hold crypto. But what does it look like with a $1 billion company with 50,000 employees? What does it look like for them to hold and operate with crypto, right? So that's part of my job, is talking to different tech partners, people delivering different like capabilities and things like that. And then also working with our clients within Vayner to help them develop education as well, but also like strategy and understand like how do they come into this space.
Nice. How long you been in that gig?
Probably 14, 15 months now.
Nice.
I was like, I joined a month after they started. So if any of you out there know Gary Vee, it's a Gary Vee company. It's under Vayner X. It's called Vayner 3. We used to be known Vayner NFT. Now we rebranded to Vayner 3.
That's very cool. And are you guys still seeing similar levels of demand that you saw 7 months ago from those kinds of companies?
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely interested in coming into the space. It's not necessarily about the narrative of like, let's go sell some NFTs anymore. It's more like, all right, we want to do something. We want to understand. We know this technology is not going anywhere. You have not only is Vayner 3 writing about this from a thought leadership perspective, but also you have other more like larger consultancies that are talking about Web3. I think the metaverse narrative has died down quite a bit as far as what we traditionally thought of the metaverse narrative, like virtual worlds. I don't think that's what the metaverse is actually going to be in the near term, because it doesn't scale in a lot of different ways. So yeah, but the demand is there. It's just not there in the speculative NFT drop sort of way.
Right. So it's more about how can we utilize, I assume I'm making an assumption here. How can we utilize NFTs in the scope of promotions or rewards or functionality, right? That kind of thing.
Yeah. More like your traditional model of like loyalty. It's more of a tool versus a product line. So initially everybody was like sort of rushing to make it like some sort of product line where they're not. But now it's like, how do we utilize this technology and NFTs more as a tool, as augmenting to our actual sort of product line or experience we're trying to deliver to whoever the consumer base is. Yeah. So
that's very cool, because you guys are like, I mean, seriously, you're like on the front line of a pretty massive amount of introduction to newbies of the base technology right now. A lot of them may not necessarily understand completely what's going on there, but the more people you put NFTs into the hands of, the more opportunity there is for expansion of the market. So that's got to be a lot of fun.
That's exactly my perspective. So I like that I get to see what's going on from that perspective, right? I get to talk to a lot of builders in the Web3 space and a bunch of really big companies that are trying to come into the space. So that's like my main job. I'm also co-founder of a project called .earth. And essentially what we're trying to do there is build a visual block explorer. So if you're familiar with like Etherscan or other block explorers, as you know, they're text heavy, clunky in a lot of ways. We're not going to basically get to 100 million users of Web3 technology.
Oh, he dropped. Okay.
That's a good one, man. More visualization, better UI, UX around like the scanners, like Etherscan and whatever, FTM scan. That is a pretty cool idea.
Yep. Now let's add him back in. All right. We lost.
Sorry about that. So sorry.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. It just like
cool.
So, yeah.
It's all good.
Yeah. So what I was saying is we're not going to onboard the next 100 million people into Web3 with hexadecimals. So we're looking at doing this sort of like visual language with hexagons, right? And what essentially like where you're at right now, if you could stop right there.
Yeah.
You see where on the left side, you have this example of what you would see on Etherscan for a Uniswap transaction. I don't think your average person is going to be able to understand like what's going on there. But instead, if they look at the right side, right, you have, so this is something that like actually happened where someone exchanged 2,100 USDC on Uniswap for 1.56 wrapped ETH, right? Nice. So it's visual. It's completely visual. You can take this, you can share it with anyone. We're aiming for this to be language agnostic as well. And what that means is because it's more numbers and symbology based, then you don't really have to worry as much about like the language sort of like translation, localizations. I'm sure that was some of that, but it does make it easier to understand, like, we know what happened with this transaction. So these glyphs, as we're calling them, when you connect your wallet, we generate them. And then you get this map of your activities, your assets, you know, your token
That's
holdings,
awesome.
all that stuff. Yeah.
That's fantastic. And then I'm assuming from there you can expand on it, or third-party developers can expand on it and create potentially dashboards or reporting tools or whatever that are also easier to read and understand.
Yeah. What we're trying to do is initially sort of set the stage. So we're taking this approach of getting people accustomed to reading this. We're not selling anything. Anyone will be able to use this. You just like connect your wallet, it'll generate it. We are starting early initially to limit it to a specific like alpha user so we can get feedback and iterate.
Sure.
But after that, the whole idea is you don't need one. You don't need to buy anything to use it, because I don't think we onboard people easier by putting artificial gates of like, oh, you need to buy something. Now, what you could do though, as you see in this example, of this glyph, you see add Gaia. Gaia is my co-founder. She owns Gaia.earth.eth, right? So what you will be able to do if you want a custom domain, like think of a custom handle, right? That is essentially is your map address. So if you own, for instance, brad.earth.eth, and you wanted to map that to a specific address, in the future will enable like detail level curation. So if someone goes to like atlasmaps.xyz/map/Brad, they land, or in the search bar, just put in Brad, they land at your map, whatever that map ends up looking like. Right?
So you're using the ENS system for allow us to map our names to these to the data from our wallet.
Exactly. And right now it's initially your wallet, but the way we're thinking about this is, what if you wanted to aggregate multiple wallets? What if for certain wallets you wanted to show certain activities, certain events, certain token holdings like your NFT? So we want, the first thing we sort of, and I don't know if, I think I can share my screen here at some point and show you.
Yeah, go ahead. Let me stop. I'll let you share.
Okay.
Niblets, one of our listeners, says the visual perception of shape recognition has much lower semantic value than chart and table, but way higher intelligibility, which is critical for adoption. Great stuff.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So I'll let me know when it's sharing.
Go. You can go ahead. You just oh, I got to add you. Sorry. There you go. Now you're up.
Are we good?
Yep.
Awesome. So this is, for instance, this is our this is actually generated off my address here. And you see how in the top left, you have allen.earth.eth. I own that subdomain off of earth.eth. And then you see the map address up here. But essentially, these are the most recent transactions on my wallet, right? So you can see these, I have this much DAI, I have this much ETH. We can zoom in. Right now, this is only formatted for like HTML5, but we're actually going to be starting to raise here at some point, and we want to build out like Android and iPhone, because we think this really grows quicker as a mobile app. But you can see here, these are different transactions that I did, and you can see when it says like @Allen here, that was my handle instead of my hexadecimal address. You can see this listing here. I listed Taj Mahal for 10 ETH, right? So it's all like visual. So the other thing that we have, and we haven't fully finished this functionality as this is alpha, but we'll soon have the ability for you to share the glyph on Twitter, right? So then instead of sharing Etherscan links, right, you're essentially sharing visual transactions, visual assets, and we hope that that's what people behaviorally start to do, right? So then as you see here, I can like page to like, this is like a Uniswap transaction that I did here, right? I have some like NFTs. I can come in here to collectibles. There's a filter here. So you see this filter for collectibles. This is my probably most familiar CryptoPunk, and it shows when I bought it, right?
Right.
So here's something interesting that we're going to be doing pretty soon, the next iteration. A lot of these are all like individual sort of like glyphs, right?
Right.
But you can use multiple glyphs, multiple like transactions and tokens to tell a story, right? So let me give you an example of what that could potentially look like. You see that I have like this, this handle bought this. I bought it from this address on December 20th. December 29th, 2020 for 6.5 ETH. But let's say I sold it for 80 ETH, right? So then that's I bought it, I listed it, I sold it, right? And then there's some amount of ETH that comes out of that. That's probably about 3 or 4 different glyphs. but we could basically aggregate that into one visual story and say, this was the profit made on this.
Nice.
And I think once we start doing those sort of things is when people will get really interested in like looking at a story. It becomes a storyboard or a story map in a way of different sort of trends and activities and things like that. Yeah,
that's awesome. Will they have the ability, say on that punk? Would you be able to then later link to that and show the history of what happened with that punk and transactions?
Yeah. So going back to that, one of the other sort of step of this is when you click on this, we will have like a panel on the right that pops up that gives you that next level detail and history of that, right? Just like, for instance, here on a holding for a specific token like DAI, I would click on this and you would see the history for that account for DAI, right? Ins and out. And it's all like very visual. And I think that this could help people really understand like, oh, what is DeFi? Oh, so for right now, we're only showing like Uniswap transactions. And you can like, all right, I see this person like swap USDC for ETH, this much, and it's visual and you could share it. But we have like staking, liquidations, a lot of different like DeFi transactions. Initially, we're really just focused on Etherscan now. That's just because it's easier to build. But
sure,
because we're treating this UX layer as more of as an abstraction of Web3 activities and tokens, doesn't really matter what chain is in the back. We could easily point this to Polygon, any EVM chain, potentially Solana, right? Other chains that are being used right now.
Right.
But there's a lot of information out there. There's a lot of transactions that people have. For instance, one of our advisors is Tony Herrera. He has like 8 pages, and this is just the last 6 months.
Wow.
Right. So like he has a lot of different NFTs and, you know, things like that. So I think the next step that we really want to add is curation, in that people really want, when you come to something very visual, they want to curate how you see them initially. If you can go look at all this stuff on chain. You can even look at it in Atlas. We'll let you like get to that next level. But if you come to someone's homepage, home map, right, what do you first see? And I think if people can curate that, and people behaviorally are accustomed to coming here, that it could be something pretty interesting for the space and onboard a lot of more mainstream people that aren't forced to only like go to OpenSea to see only NFTs.
Right.
And, you know, we'll have like DeFi, a lot of DeFi stuff here. It'll be like basically a collection of all the Web3 activities, assets, and events.
That's awesome, man. Do you envision that at some point this becomes an interface to actually initiate transactions? So,
yeah, you are going exactly where we're thinking. So part of where we're trying to take this and how we're thinking about it is, if, for instance, you see here that, well, actually, let me go to mine real quick. I think, yeah, here's a perfect example. Like right now you see that there's a listing for tajmahal.eth, and I have it listed for 10 ETH, right?
Right.
Why do I need to go to OpenSea to buy this, right? Like,
we
can do a trustless transaction right here.
Right.
So, yeah. That's our thinking. I can go to Uniswap. I can do a transfer because I have my balance. Like, I have my balance here. Why do I need to go anywhere else? Let's just live right here where it's all visual, right? You know, that sort of thing.
Yeah, and if you have a view that's like, filter for me all, you know, I don't know if it'll go this far, but filter for me all .eth domains available for sale that are 7 characters or less or whatever, right? And then you can initiate the transaction here. That makes a ton of sense. Plus, with the visual nature of it, you know, NFTs themselves, visual NFTs, obviously this is a great view to have as well. So I really see you having kind of an advantage to creating a view into my own data, but also creating a view into what's available, letting me transact with people I've transacted with before, because I can easily find the transaction again. I see a ton of potential to leverage this for a lot of things. Yeah.
So that's, I mean, it's very early stages for us, but anyone that's out there, if this is something you're interested in, go to .earth, .earth .earth. Check it out. Give us feedback. Join our Discord server. We've sold, I think, let me see. I think we've sold like maybe 2,300. 2,300 of these candles already. So
what's the domain again?
Which for what?
For people to go check it out and try, besides I have the Atlas maps.xyz, but for
Yeah, so this is earth.domains. Yeah. So here's the thing. In order to mint the custom domains, like the custom subdomains, you have to own a nomad. So a nomad is 0.25 ETH. So if you own a nomad, you can register as many subdomains as you want, custom ones, whatever words are available. About almost 2,400 have been done. We have it's a small community of people, but people are like speculating already on, hey, if Atlas works out and these subdomains or these Atlas IDs are the map addresses, then it makes sense to own them, right? So we're also one of the first projects to really utilize, I think, give subdomains a really strong utility, right? For like ENS subdomains, because you're part of this collection, you have all these different terms, but the utility is it has direct utility within a Web3 application, which is what Atlas is, right? This visual block explorer. So yeah, I know it's probably a little confusing for some people, but certainly join our Discord server, ask questions on our Twitter, DM us, whatever. We're there to like help with whatever you need.
Look, I think it's just from the perspective of if all you ever had was my ability to see my transactions visually and not have to try to figure out Etherscan, I'm a happy camper, right?
Yeah, that's our like number one goal. That is our number one goal.
Because every time I go to Etherscan, I have to reorient myself. Even though I understand how it functions, I have to reorient myself to looking at hash IDs versus transactional IDs versus wallet IDs. And it's arduous, right? And so I think this makes a ton of sense. And the beauty of it is once you've captured a user using this for that, then it becomes really simple to add other functionality into them. I think that's fantastic. I noticed a shopping cart icon on some of them. Was that so, hey, I can list this NFT like right now?
So, no. So what that actually shows is that we're still sort of playing what's the best visual symbol for a sale. So what that means is
gotcha.
Right. So we're probably going to like switch out based on like early feedback we've gotten from like advisors and things like that, switch out some of the symbols to as far as like buy, sale, listed, minted. Like minted is really obvious. It's like this sapling. But yeah, this is part of the early stage, right? We're like iterating and taking feedback from people. But the goal is to help people understand what is the last event on that specific asset, right? And then if you want to go into it, you get that entire history and the detail.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. How many people are working on this?
So I wrote the API. I generate the glyphs, all the visualizations there. I have a background as a software engineer, software architect. So I'm doing all the backend connectivity for like Infura, Etherscan, some OpenSea data, Alchemy. Alchemy is a great API. We'll probably eventually have to run our own full nodes to really get like the performance that we probably will have to achieve. We're indexing a lot of it so that as you saw, I was able to like flip through and very quickly pull
really
that
fast.
out, right? Yeah. So then we have a team that we're working with that's done the front end. There's another team called Quantum Tech that did the earth.eth like subdomains and the Atlas IDs. So they've done that component. But yeah, so it's a couple different groups, but me and my co-founder are the ones who've really done all the design and actual heavy lifting technical implementation for Atlas. Yeah.
Very nice. This is awesome, man. I think this is a great concept. I think it's funny that you're living in this world where you're at Vayner, you're onboarding, right? Potentially millions of people with the deals that you're working on. And then over here, you're building something to make it easier for new people coming in, or even all of us, frankly, to actually visualize and see what we're doing. I love that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's brilliant, man. So I have a real quick question. I'm kind of surprised that Stake and Nodes didn't enter into the Stake and Nodes business in this world.
Yeah. You know what I found? By the time I really got it up and I really had a lot of data coming on there, I did a ton of work, like a ton. I still have like the database. I have like everything, the site for it.
Yeah.
I wasn't able to get enough revenue to really sustain it. It was probably falling. My Azure bill was like over $1,000 a month. And I was like, man, if I can't even like forget, like, let's just say my time is free as like a builder and a founder, your time is free. Like you don't get to pay yourself anything for a while, but my costs were ongoing and it was a bear market. I had to work. I was just like, and the other thing is the masternodes like market just went downhill. Right. And what I ended up doing was I recognized pretty early what was happening. That's why I started adding like DeFi, like Aave was picking up. So I started adding other sort of like yield bearing sort of like data capture, like Celsius when it was there, like Compound, like all these other sort of like protocols or CeFi things. I built like this like almost like game on digital oil where people could like speculate with their portfolio. Like everyone started at a certain time, and then like after a week, whoever built the best portfolio based on like staking.
Oh, I remember that. That was actually really cool. Yeah,
I
that was really cool.
Thing. Yeah, it's just I try to raise for some people. It was just like a bear market, and I just couldn't really get any traction working all by myself. Honestly, it was very difficult. So I just sort of, I never made any promises to anyone, so I just sort of wound things down. What digital oil was ended up iterating to something that working on some guys that are in Zurich on now. So yeah, I'm pretty busy.
Sounds like it.
But yeah, I love the space, and really, I'm not going anywhere. So I'm definitely going to be here building and connecting with people. I'm in DevCon right now in Bogota. So
nice, very nice.
Oh.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. How's it going so far? How are people's state of minds?
Listen, I tweeted about it the other day. I'm like, what bear market? Because at DevCon, man, people are here. They're excited. They're building. They're like, they're ready, man. So like, it's one of those things where a conference like this is where you go. You don't have the influencers here. You have people that are building like different tools, components, products, services. That's what I like to see. Those are the people I want to connect with. And the other thing, and I'm telling you right now, I've been in Mexico City. Before I got here, I was in Mexico City for like 5 weeks. I was at a conference in August. There's a city in northwest of Mexico City called Querétaro. I spoke there at a conference. There's a lot of Latin Americans here at Bogota from like Peru, Argentina, Brazil, Venezuela. Like Latin America is building in Web3, and they're not messing around. Like I'm not like we're meeting a lot of people building, and the difference between, and I'm generalizing here, and I'm certainly not speaking for any Latin American people, let me be clear, but the difference between like America and here is like the impact of crypto from a non-speculative perspective is much better.
Nice.
Right?
Nice.
And if you look at the relative like cost of living and the impact of being able to like build here, perform microtransactions here, even sell some NFTs here. They don't need to sell for tens of thousands of dollars to sustain themselves, right?
Actual real life use cases across the board.
Exactly. So the real use cases are stronger. Like you feel them more here. You see them more here. You look at the currency ratios of a lot of the Latin American countries, and I think I met like the founders of this wallet called Zulu at an event the other day, and they are basically driving a way for people like in different countries in Latin America to basically use USDC to perform transactions with each other, right? Wow. Because they want USDC here, they want the USD here so they can like transact because of the constant volatility of their local currencies, right?
Sure.
Like, yeah, so it's great. I mean, it's just I'm excited, and like the communities here are very real. They're organic. It's not built off of a bunch of hype and people on like Spaces and Twitter like trying to sell you something. So I love it.
That's awesome. Well, it's funny. I went to Permissionless here in Florida a couple of months ago.
I went too.
Yeah, and it was right after Terra, and I kind of went in expecting dismal. Everybody's sad. What it did is it just filtered out all the crap, right? Yeah. All the moon boys, everybody was not there. And the people there were builders. And I was fired up when I came out of that. So it sounds like you're experiencing similar things there too. That's great.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's a great country too. It's fun country.
This looks great. I'll put all the links in the show notes, but I really appreciate you showing us this, and I love what you're working on and building, man. I'd love to get you back on in a few months to see how things are going.
Yeah, for sure. Brad, thanks for reaching out. We're never leaving that group. We'll get
Stay there.
Sandwich on here. We get Omni on here. It'd be good, honestly, to have a show like me, you, Crypto
that'd be
Sandwich,
fun.
Omni.
Who else I haven't had Omni on yet. I gotta get him on.
You gotta get him on. Seriously.
Yeah, man.
So
because that's the data. Yeah. That's all the data. He's awesome.
Yeah, we're actually in another group, and so we kind of chat from time to time. I don't know exactly what he's doing in the space, but like I'm sure he's still hanging around somewhere. So yeah, he is.
He's got a Discord set up. He had a couple of Gitcoin grants he got for some data work he was doing. So yeah, but he's brilliant. Oh, that's great. Yeah, let's get that group rejuvenated. By the way, I didn't actually do the introductions. Joe, this is my partner, Joe. Joe, this is Alan. Hello.
Joe, good to meet you.
Hey, buddy. Nice to meet you too, man.
Yeah.
Sounds like you're having a lot of fun down there.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I like to see the energy and the excitement in the building.
Yeah.
Well, Niblet says biggest LATAM use case is not financial but medical. Drug provenance will save lives and wellness, for example. That's cool. I like that. That's
awesome. I'm not going to argue. Yeah, I'm certainly not going to speak of what's most important to the people down here. But what I will say is that whatever they're working on, it's using this technology is exciting, and there's a very organic and natural feel to it that you don't necessarily see in like other parts of like you go to New York and it's about networking and building. It's a different tone. It's a different feel. It's different, not necessarily better, right? So I'm just that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, it's when you have fundamental need for the tech, rather than people trying to squeeze it into a way to make money. That's a huge difference in kind of big attitude approach. Yes. Yeah, that's awesome.
Well, Joe, it's the same thing that happened. Yeah, I was going to say it's similar to wireless technology in the late 90s when the Bell South was rolling out cell phones in Central and South America. It was huge uptake, and everybody was moving to it and trying to get applications for it because regular old phone service just wasn't that in South and Central America. So the new tech came in to address that, and like you said, with blockchain and crypto, the volatility in the local currencies is so unpredictable, and it's also so dependent on U.S. and European financial moves that if you can decouple from that and be in crypto and just have to worry about one variable, like U.S. macro, then you're going to be in a much better space going forward, I would think. So it makes total sense.
That's great. Alan, thanks so much for your time today, man. Enjoy the show down there, and let's stay in touch, and we'll get that group chatting again. Maybe we'll do a panel with everybody on just to talk DeFi and what everybody's working on.
That would be great. Like seriously, don't miss me for that one. All right.
I will not. Absolutely not. Take it easy, man. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Take care. Bye.
Nice meeting you, buddy. All right.
Good to meet you.
Have fun.
Bye.
Hasta luego.
Awesome guy.
Hey, what's his Twitter handle?
Hold on. Let me get it for you. It is at 0x Allen ALLEN _.
Hold on, you can have at 0x Allen ALLEN _.
Yep.
All
right, Joe. I got to wrap up today because I've got a call at 1 and an interview with Roy at 1:30 about his game.
Yeah, awesome. Look forward to hearing the feedback from that call.
Yeah.
There was something else I was going to tell you that was interesting. I think that, when I was looking at Alan's last thing, there's also all kinds of other applications. Think compliance. Think like calculating what's cap gains and what's not. Think about being able to sort all those transactions rather than digging through all the numbers.
Yeah.
I mean, you just have been doing that, I think, for the last month or two.
Exactly.
So if you could just sort that and sum it, that would be pretty freaking cool. Because FASB changed the accounting rules too yesterday, I believe, to where there's like fair value accounting now. It's not just where you can't record the value until you sell. This is for the companies,
right?
So like if you had BTC, you bought at 5 and it's at 60, it's not valued at 60 on your balance sheet. It is as of now. It used to be valued at 5. So really good changes that seem to fit into all of these, trends going forward. So it's good times, man.
I tell you what, if he has the ability to make notes on transactions, et cetera, and keep track of them for yourself, when I was running through thousands and thousands of transactions for my taxes, trying to figure out what a transaction was. If I
Right.
had it visually and it showed that it was an actual sale or it was staking or it was yield or it was a loan or whatever, and I could see that immediately visually and match up the transaction number from the tax reporting, all kinds of cool integrations they could do to make people's lives easier. I really love it. That's awesome.
Yeah.
He's just a genuinely good guy. I remember, during the Masternode process, he had a company that did Masternode hosting, right? And it simplified all the complexity that was required to manually set up nodes, which, I always did mine manually, but
I tried.
but he and a bunch of other people in that group were leading a bunch of projects, and it's just a good group of guys. We'll get them on there. But Omni that he was talking about is this brilliant data guy, analytics guy. I mean, he's absolutely brilliant. Machine learning, AI, just all kinds of great skills. So we'll get him on here too, because he can offer a lot of insights for us.
So was this when we were like talking about GraviX and all those, or was this after that?
Probably in the same time frame. Yeah, those were in the similar time frame.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when that was hot. And I
Yeah.
remember setting up those nodes in Singapore or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, that was not easy to do.
No, it's a nightmare
for me.
Yeah,
I can imagine. And I have patience.
And look at this guy. He's working for Vayner. I mean, seriously, that's like friggin',
No, he's sharp, man. He's smart.
Yeah.
And he's got good energy, charisma, everything you need.
Yep,
So yeah,
absolutely.
definitely want to keep him in the lead.
Niblets, Sean, Eamon, Euphoric. I think that's everybody. Thank you for participating today. Thanks for coming in and making your thoughts known. We appreciate it. Please go over to Reddit and give us your thoughts there too. If you like what we're doing, please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. It just takes a couple of minutes and does a lot to help. So you could really help us boost our rating in the algos over there. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and click the little bell so you get notified when a new episode comes out. That also helps us boost our ranking. And that's all I got today, Joe.
Yeah, no, thank you for that, Brad. I was reading something else while you were talking. Good luck with the call today. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks,
chat with you
everybody.
tomorrow. All right,
See ya.
buddy.
Bye-bye.